Welcome to Secret Spaces, everybody. This is a weekly Twitter space featuring secret network contributors and news from around the ecosystem. Today we have special guests from another network, the OJO network. This is another layer one Cosmos-based chain, and they provide Oracle solutions that are native to the Cosmos. So definitely looking forward to learning more about what they're building and how secret network applications might be able to make use of it. Want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Waz?
Yeah, so I'm Waz. That's what people kind of call me in the space. I'm the CEO and co-founder of the OJO network. I've got a history building out fintech and centralized finance. I was one of the directors of software engineering at Fidelity, kind of re-architecting everything from the 90s. And I pretty much specialize in turning legacy finance into these highly scalable products. And that's what we're doing with OJO. OJO is an answer to the Oracle problem for the next generation of finance. We're providing pricing data and Oracle data for every asset under the sun and the cosmos and beyond. So that's sort of some context around me and what I'm building in this space.
Awesome. And how exactly does OJO relate to UMI? I know they are somehow connected.
Yes, so OJO kind of started at UMI. We were building out this lending protocol that now is the biggest money market in the cosmos. I think we have a TVL of like 20 millions right now. And we essentially needed to create an Oracle system that could support a very efficient lending protocol. We saw things like the Mango Markets hack, where Avi Eisenberg stole $110 million worth from a relatively small lending protocol. So we built out this incredibly sustainable Oracle that works for fast finality proof of stake. It provides data for assets that no other Oracle is able to provide. And we're really using it now to start to sort of bolster the Cosmos. So now OJO is an independent L1 blockchain running right now and providing pricing data to other chains in the Cosmos. And we're expanding pretty much every day, which is really, really exciting. So that's kind of the origin story of how OJO came to be.
Got it. Thanks. So can we just get like a simple summary of, for people who might not be familiar with what an oracle is or what it provides, why are oracles needed within a blockchain, and how exactly does OJO provide that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So blockchain technology is it's inherently two things. It's one, deterministic, meaning you can expect the same output every time you input into the blockchain. It's supposed to do the same thing the same way always. And secondly, it's decentralized, right? The technology should be so that no one party is able to corrupt it. No one party is able to say how something works, and everybody has a say in the matter. These two things are great. They're fantastic pieces of technology that are really going to enable the future of finance, but they're not great for external data about the world. The world is not typically this sort of completely agnostic system. If you ask 20 different people if the sky is blue, one of them is going to say that it's red. And you have to figure out essentially who do you want to trust and how do you ensure that that data is true. This is super important for things like lending protocols because when you collateralize an asset, say you collateralize $10 worth of Bitcoin and you want $8 worth of Ethereum and to borrow that off of that collateral, you need to know the price of those two assets to perform that transaction. But you can't trust anybody, and you're a completely decentralized system where everyone has a say. So that's essentially the Oracle problem. How do you determine true data about the external world, which is extrinsic to blockchains? How do you provide that information on chain so that anyone can use it in a scalable manner? So that's really the problem that OJO is providing. We're providing pricing data for all of these chains that want to be sure that all of their data is completely secure and they can verify it at a cryptographic level. We're providing that cryptographic truth for everyone to operate finance off of.
Got it. So basically, it's data external to the blockchain that is being provided in a trust minimized and decentralized manner.
Exactly. And it's very, very hard to do. I'll tell you that right now. It's kind of all I stay up thinking about at night, and my whole team is the same way.
And this is so price feeds, I guess, are the the biggest use case for this kind of thing, but I think there are other possible use cases as well, other reasons you might need to get some kind of data from outside of the chain.
Yeah, one of my favorite sort of future thinking examples is insurance for any type of event. Say, insurance companies are kind of notoriously bad at responding in first world countries, but in second and third world countries, they're not even legally required to pay out at certain times because the law doesn't protect citizens. The citizens can't sue the insurance company or whatever. This type of insurance can go from car crashes to farming insurance when crops don't produce, right? If we could build a decentralized Oracle network that essentially had sensors in your car or sensors to see if it rained, you could automate payouts from a decentralized insurance company that could essentially provide all of those payouts to people that would otherwise not be able to operate at that scale because they don't have the capital to engage with a fully insured insurance company that will always pay out. So oracles like this, they go beyond just pricing. They can enable the globalization and decentralization of almost all financial products if we do it correctly. And I think OJO is the oracle that will do that, not just for Cosmos, but the whole system in all of blockchains.
Very cool. So I didn't even realize that it was going to be available outside of Cosmos as well. Is that going to be something that's available as soon as you launch on mainnet, or is that something you're looking at later down the road?
So we're actually testing that out pretty early. It's kind of some alpha. We haven't really talked about it publicly, but we're testing out EVM integrations. We're looking at being included in Celestia's roll kit as well for rollups. What we want to do is we obviously want to be Cosmos first, but we want to be the bridge between each of these ecosystems to engage in safer DeFi, right? We can provide pricing data for things like liquid staking assets on Cosmos and provide that to these huge lending protocols like Aave and turn Aave into something from like a $5 billion product into a double-digit billion-dollar product where anyone can borrow and lend across all of these ecosystems. So OJO is very Cosmos focused now. We're integrating with almost every IBC chain that we can. We're deploying Cosmosm contracts everywhere, but we really have our sights set on this pretty large vision for OJO as a whole.
Nice. Well, okay. So in that case, you kind of open yourself up to a lot of competition because obviously there are Oracle solutions on EVM chains right now. Chainlink is probably the biggest one that most people are familiar with. Band Protocol is another one. How would you compare OJO to these Oracle solutions? What's different about OJO?
So there's kind of two levels to it. One is the market that we're going after. Chainlink is going after this market that's it's pretty large, but it's also very well known. It's kind of easy to get pricing data on things like Bitcoin, where it trades everywhere. OJO is going after the 40% of the market that gets overlooked. 40% of things like Ethereum right now are staked and provide liquid staking tokens that don't have price feeds to engage in DeFi. So we are going after this whole other segment of the market in blockchain as well as the Cosmos that provides pricing data for environment specific assets. One of the biggest cases that we did recently was providing ST Juno pricing data to UMI so that ST Juno can actually be listed as an asset on UMI. So you can liquid stake Juno, get ST Juno back, and then collateralize that ST Juno to borrow Juno again and compound your liquid staking. So the market share is completely different from Chainlink. The second thing is we're planning on being completely decentralized. When you engage in Chainlink as a crypto project, it's very expensive. Two, it's very arduous and it takes time to do. You have to email Chainlink, you have to get them involved and make their accounting department respond to you. And OJO is going to be this completely permissionless product where anyone can pay OJO as a blockchain in tokens, and we'll start sending pricing data over to your chain almost immediately. So we're completely decentralized, and we're also going after a completely different market of tokens.
Okay, cool. So I think this is the first Cosmos native Oracle chain or Oracle solution. I know Band Protocol was doing some things with IBC. This was probably like a couple of years ago. I don't really hear much about that these days. I'm not sure if they're like fully integrated with IBC. Do you know much about that? Like what Band Protocol is currently provided to the IBC ecosystem?
Yeah, we talked to Band. We've talked to them about including them as part of UMI originally. We tried to use them as a data provider. I know they work with Injective over IBC to provide price feeds for a couple different assets, and I think they have a few paying customers. I don't think they're inherently badly built or anything, but what we want to herald in the Cosmos ecosystem is we want to be the only Cosmos first Oracle. We're the only Oracle service that provides pricing data for all of the IBC assets that are listed on Osmosis. We're building out custom indexers for dexes in the Cosmos so that we can be the premier Oracle, right? These other Oracle systems, they work, they engage in IBC sometimes, but they don't have the price feeds that we do. So we can turn a lot of these products in the Cosmos that are sort of growing and but they're limiting their scope to maybe four different assets that allow them to collateralize in DeFi. We want to engage every IBC asset in DeFi and really see all of these different offerings sort of explode in the Cosmos. And that's really what makes us different in the Cosmos environment.
Got it. Okay, so if a secret AMM wanted to take advantage of what OHO has to offer, how would they go about doing that? Is that something that they would need to discuss with you guys, or is this going to be like some kind of permissionless way that this can be set up, or how does that work?
Yeah, so say somebody wants to integrate with OHO. What we're developing right now is a way for you to essentially deploy a contract or integrate over IBC at the L1 and pay us in OHO tokens and just start receiving data. Right now, we're going through a phase where we're deploying contracts onto receiving chains. Most recently, we announced our partnership with Neutron, where we're providing price feeds for all of the dApps on top of Neutron. We're also partnered with Secret Network, where we deployed a contract there. We're partnered with Juno as well, where we're deploying and providing price feeds there. So really, right now, we're sort of going through this customer acquisition phase, working with the protocols that want to work with OHO. And we're actively working on the side of the protocol that is completely permissionless, where anybody can use it. In Cosmos, we're already completely compatible there, right? If you wanted to be completely permissionless, you can install our IBC module tomorrow. Just contact us, import it through GitHub, and deploy it to your chain. But we're seeing a lot more chains want to integrate at sort of the CosmWasm integration level. So we're working on that right now. But anyone can use OHO. Just reach out to us and we'll deploy on you. We've seen quite a few different projects in the ecosystem sort of reach out because they need these price feeds to build products that are going to go beyond just price feeds for Atom, price feeds for Osmosis. We want to hit that next level, and a lot of projects in Cosmos have started to see that.
Nice. So I was kind of asking from the perspective of an AMM that might want their token prices to be available on OHO, but the other way around, if you're an application developer building and you need to access that kind of data, it's is that publicly available? Is there some way you can like browse what OHO is currently offering through Oracles? Is there like an Oracle browser or something? How does
Yeah,
that
we
work?
have
How do you know what kind of data is available?
Yeah, we have integration documentation which lists all of the assets that we support right now. You can
Okay.
also publicly look at our blockchain that's actively running. It's called Agamotto. And just enter our Agamotto, explore. All of this is in our link tree. So you can go and completely publicly see all of the pricing data going from validators voting on prices to that data being at the receiving chain. For things like DEXs that want to integrate their feeds directly into OHO, you can do things like what Shade is doing, which is providing an API that indexes over different blocks and queries the current price for different pools, as well as the volume information. And you can write an integration for that directly into our price feeder in GitHub. It's a pretty, anybody's able to access it. Anybody contributes to our price feeder. We're seeing a few different protocols in the ecosystem have started to integrate in that way. We're going to get new price feeds for USK, and one of the things we're working with Shade on is getting price feeds for the Silk asset everywhere in these ecosystems. So it's really one of those where both sides are completely trustless. Anybody can sort of view it happening. Anybody can integrate with it and be a part of OHO kind of raising up all of these different networks.
Awesome. Well, that's great to hear that you're already working with Shade. I actually see them in the audience right now. But yeah, that's awesome. So I think right now OHO is in testnet phase, and when are you guys looking to move to mainnet?
Yeah, so right now, what we really want to do is work on the sort of the Arbitrum method. We want to garner enough adoption of OHO to where launching a token essentially just releases the protocol that already works out into the public and allows anyone to participate in the conversation. Once we get it to a fully trustless state where anyone can pay in OHO tokens and receive pricing data on their customer, that's when we plan on releasing a token and doing sort of a mainnet launch. We already work with a ton of the validators in the space that are validating on one of our test nets. We're also going to be onboarding external validators to our current production network that is providing price feeds to all of these different customers, so that we can decentralize the network without having to do an ICO. So really, we're being very intentional about it, right? We're being very methodical about when to actually release a token, because I see a lot of projects, and I'm not going to really name names, but a lot of projects that sort of launch a token before the product itself is live and usable. And we don't want to be that, right? We want to focus on adoption, focus on OHO being the premier oracle of the cosmos, and then sort of move into the tokenizing phase and moving into these other ecosystems.
Makes sense, yeah. So the OHO token will eventually be used to pay for access to this Oracle data. And you mentioned when we were talking about comparing with Chainlink, and you said Chainlink is a pretty expensive for this kind of thing. Why do you think that is? Why is Chainlink so expensive to use? Is it a choice that they made, or is it something to do with the infrastructure, the way that their system is set up, and how does OHO intend to keep costs down compared to Chainlink?
Yeah, so Chainlink and OHO are built in two fundamentally different ways. Chainlink is a set of centralized nodes which essentially provide data based off of requests to smart contracts, and they can return that data whenever. Some of these price feeds from Chainlink are 30 minutes old, and they constantly have problems with that when they're onboarding new DeFi applications that are way faster than Chainlink. So it's very expensive because the architecture is completely different. It's much more expensive to run a Chainlink node. They only have maybe 20 of them, and it's a pull method. It's very slow. With OHO, it's very very cheap to run a node. Right, we're running our validators probably at a couple $100 a month with firewalls and security all intact. And with how we're basing out the pricing for providing pricing services, validators will be able to make quite a bit of money every time we onboard a new service to OHO. So all of these network operators that are going to be validating on the OHO network are going to have quite a better revenue stream than maybe your typical inflationary Cosmos chain. There's a lot of tokenomics built into it where we have inflation at the beginning and we actually have a supply cap for the token at $1 billion. So this is something we're really, really thinking about, because in order for OHO to be a fully sustainable decentralized product, we need people in the network that are able to make a profit so that OHO is long-term sustainable over some of these other oracles, which you might actually lose money operating as an oracle node on a different network.
Nice. So what would you say is next for OHO on your roadmap? What are you working on right now?
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about this as far as talking to the EVMs of the world and the rollups and layer twos. I think next for us is researching sort of that side of things. Right, we're in the Cosmos right now. We're focusing on bringing new chains and new dApps onto OJO as consuming protocols. And really, what we want to research is the ability to do zero knowledge proofs across chains, across ecosystems, and maybe build things like Ethereum shared security with EigenLayer, where we can provide price feeds for these huge billion-dollar protocols in a completely trustless way, where they don't have to worry about the evaluation of OJO as a whole. They can be cryptographically assured that their data is correct and they can operate in a safe manner. So, um, uh, what's next is really sort of expanding outside of the Cosmos, building out custom price feeds and custom protocol specific applications for those environments, and seeing how OJO does kind of in the real world. Because if we want Cosmos to have the huge amounts of liquidity that everybody talks about, we need to onboard Ethereum. We need to onboard layer twos. We need to bring these types of whales into the Cosmos. And if OJO executes the way that I expect it to execute, we will be the bridge between these environments and start to bring all of that liquidity into the awesome technology that is Cosmos.
Nice, nice. That definitely aligns with Secret's goals. We're kind of trying to do that through privacy as a service, which is basically Secret Network providing private computation to other chains. Currently just through IBC, but pretty soon going through Axelar GMP so that we can provide that to EVM chains like Ethereum. So definitely agree with those goals. So how do you see Ethereum people moving to Cosmos just based on you providing price feeds? I guess I didn't really understand exactly how that works. What would
Yeah,
make somebody on Ethereum want to try out Cosmos because of something they experienced through OHO?
Yeah, so the way that you can think about it is sort of agnosticizing the Cosmos from the end user. One thing that the UMI protocol is researching doing with OHO is revamping their Ethereum side of the protocol. So users for Ethereum can essentially lock up their tokens in Ethereum contracts where they take WBTC and they don't even have to bridge it over into the Cosmos. Sort of doing a bridgeless solution where you lock things up and you don't even have to use things like Axelar to bring those tokens in, because Ethereum users are typically pretty uh, non-trusting of bridges, right? We've had hundreds of bridge hacks costing people hundreds of millions of dollars. They don't really want to leave their environment. So OHO can provide price feeds for these assets in each Ethereum environment to the Cosmos, which allows those assets to directly engage in the Cosmos in sometimes a completely bridgeless way. So even if you use Axelar, right, you still need OHO powered price feeds for those environments in the Cosmos in order for those assets to even engage in DeFi. So that's sort of how I see it, right? We want to agnosticize the Cosmos from the end user, so that when they're picking their best lending protocol, they don't have to think about bridging. They don't have to think about, oh, this is the Cosmos environment. All they can think about are what is the most effective numbers, right? What gives me the most yield, and we see a lot of that with some of the huge projects coming out, like Squid Router. That's sort of their main thesis, right? Everything should be agnostic. You just need to look at the best swapping rate. So really, I sort of fall into this group with a lot of you guys, as well as Secret Network, as well kind of thinks of agnosticizing themselves from Cosmos and really allowing anybody to bridge into this environment without them really knowing. That's sort of how OHO is going to start bringing over all these whales from Ethereum.
Gotcha. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Just removing that friction from the user experience. Like they shouldn't even have to be thinking about, I need to bridge this over here in order to make use of this application. If you can just remove that and make it as easy as possible for them to use it without having to think about those things, then yeah, that would definitely bring more users over to the Cosmos ecosystem.
Yeah, and that's to the tune of billions of dollars, right? In the Cosmos, we're really used to thinking about, a few $100 million of a protocol. I mean, in the bear market, that's really good, and in a lot of markets, it is really good, right? Mars before the Terra crash had a few million, but we're really competing with the larger ecosystem here, right? We're competing with protocols like Mango Markets, where 110 million was pretty small in their environment. And we need to incentivize all of these Ethereum whales and large liquidity people to come over into the cosmos. We can't do that just through branding. We need to do that through like cryptographic proofs that allow the user the best chance in DeFi, the best experience in DeFi. And if OHO can be the bridge between environments to bring all of this liquidity to the most efficient environment in Cosmos, then I'll see that as an incredibly successful protocol once OHO's through that phase.
For sure, man. I love that vision. Is there anything that we didn't already cover that you'd like to talk about, Was?
No, I mean I just like shilling OHO. It's all I do all day. Um, we've we've really been working on integrating with all of these different these different protocols. One of the things we're really excited about is launching on Archway really soon. I actually met up with one of the Archway guys earlier today, Kem, and I know they're pretty excited to have us. So if you haven't seen OHO yet on your favorite chain, reach out to them, bother them, ask them why they're not integrating, because we really want to add people to our integration calendar that can help grow OHO and help grow DeFi as a whole. So that's it's been pretty exciting.
Awesome. So if people are interested in keeping up with what OHO is doing, or maybe even getting more involved with the OHO community and contributing in some way, what's the best way of going about that?
Yeah, so if you want news, our Twitter is probably the best place to go. We're at OHO Network. My Twitter is pretty active as well. I'm tweeting about OHO all the time, all of our fun integrations, and a lot of the different things we do. If you want to contribute, check out our Discord. There's a ton of awesome developers there and validators in the community that are willing to help out and help you engage in the OHO technology. Our price feeder, our Oracle, our contracts are completely open source. So if you have a feature that you want to see, maybe some data that you want to add to your network, or a deployment that you're interested in bringing to the rest of the cosmos, reach out, talk to us, and engage with us. Message us on Twitter, message us in Discord, and we'll see how we can help you sort of build OHO and help bridge it into each ecosystem.
Awesome. Sounds great. Well, Was, I appreciate you being here and looking forward to continuing to work with you and collaborate with the OHO network. Hope we can find some ways to work together in the future and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Patrick. It's great talking to you. By the way, are you at Awesome Wasm this week?
No, we are not at Osmosm this week. We do have some people, they're going to be in at ETHCC Paris. That's next week if you'll be around there.
Awesome. Yeah, my team's doing Awesome Wasm. We're one of the sponsors. And then we'll also be at ETHCC doing a few pitches there as well. So if anybody wants to reach out to us and meet up and talk about our tech, please reach out, especially you, Patrick. Let's make sure we talk at ETHCC in Paris.
I'm not going to be there personally, but yeah, we're going to have several team members, so I will definitely get somebody to connect with you while you're there. There's a few Cosmos side events going on, and I bet we're probably already planning to go to one that you'll be at. So we'll
Awesome.
talk offline and see. All right. Well, this has been Secret Spaces. Thanks for coming, everybody. Join us next week. We'll be back on Tuesday at 4 p.m. UTC. And until then, have a good week.